Kasalelie, Lenwo, Rananim, and Mogethin. I am Carmen Cantor, the U.S. Ambassador to the Federated States of Micronesia. While we cannot celebrate the United States Independence Day in person this year, it is my privilege to join you across the sound waves for this 4th of July radio address. Before I begin, I'd like to pay my respects to all the traditional leaders, His Excellency President David Panuelo, and FSM national and state government leaders, religious leaders, and all of you who are tuning in to the radio. July 4th, the birthday of the United States, is a time to come together with family and friends to celebrate and reflect on our history, values, and the importance of democracy. At its core, our democracy ensures a government whose course is determined by its people. While the United States had not always been perfect, our Constitution gives each American one simple truth. We are all created equal, with undeniable rights, including the right to freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of assembly. For 244 years, Americans have worked to shape the country into a more perfect union, which protects and celebrates all our differences. This work continues today as thousands take to the streets and social media to exercise our freedoms and work together for equality and a better future. The United States shares these ideals and values with nations throughout the world, especially the Federated States of Micronesia. Together, we continue to promote democracy, rule of law, freedom, and human rights. The U.S. and FSM have a unique and special relationship, highlighted by the Compact of Free Association. Under this arrangement, FSM citizens have long enjoyed visa-free travel and work in the United States and vice versa. United States also has provided different levels of economic assistance and budgetary support to the Federated States of Micronesia for health, education, infrastructure, environment, capacity building, and private sector development to enable the FSM to reach its goals and become increasingly self-sufficient. Negotiations with the U.S. and FSM are underway for the future of these programs beyond 2023. In addition, the U.S. is responsible for providing security and defense to the Federated States of Micronesia, defending all of its islands as if would its own shores. FSM citizens enlist in the U.S. military in greater numbers per capita than any of the U.S. 50 states. To all the U.S. military veterans and their family members listening today, I thank you for your service and sacrifice. In these times of global pandemic, our commitment to the security of the FSM extends to increasing the preparedness of each state to manage the impact of COVID-19 on the FSM. As of today, the U.S. government has provided over $159 million in funding to support the COVID-19 response in the Pacific Islands, with $90 million specifically to the FSM. The U.S. has also donated hundreds of COVID-19 test kits, medicine, thousands of masks, and ventilators to each of the states. Additional materials arrive almost weekly, and U.S. agencies provide daily consultations and virtual training with FSM and state health providers. Our U.S. Navy Seabees have worked tirelessly in POHNPEI and Yap states to build medical and educational facilities, as well on projects that increase preparedness of the FSM to manage the COVID-19 pandemic. In both states, the Seabees helped stand up quarantine and isolation facilities and constructed roughly 80 hand-washing stations at schools and other public gathering areas. They provided safety and medical training to frontline workers policing FSM's borders and collaborated with NGOs on multiple preparedness projects. We look forward to the continued partnership between the U.S. Navy Seabees and the FSM states. As a result of the pandemic, we cannot celebrate the 4th of July in a traditional way with a large gathering. Instead, we're celebrating the birth of our nation with small but meaningful events this week. This year's Embassy's 4th of July theme is Environmental Protection of the FSM. A couple of weeks ago, I invited the youth of the FSM to participate in an essay contest describing each person's role and responsibility in keeping Micronesia clean. Please check out our Facebook page at U.S. Embassy Colonia to read the winning essays of these talented young students. We have also partnered with local conservation organizations to clean landmark locations and launched initiatives to support FSM government's ban on plastics and styrofoam. I commit to do my part to keep this beautiful, large ocean nation clean for the future generations, and will continue to work with Micronesians on those efforts. To conclude, I look forward to celebrating the next 4th of July with you in person. But for now, let's continue to do what we can to expand opportunities in both our countries and to inspire the next generation of Micronesians and Americans to build a brighter future. Kalangang, Kulumulap, Kiniso, Kamagar, and Gracias. Happy 4th of July.